Hey guys, what's going on? Corey Beam here with another video for you. Today we're going to be talking about tracking your macronutrients while you're tracking your calories, while you diet or while you bulk, and giving you some helpful tips on how to make sure that your dieting strategy is effective. Coming up. So the first question that a lot of people have about macronutrients and how you use them is what they are. What are macronutrients? So macronutrients are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So these three subgroups are how your calories are divided. So a gram of fat is equivalent to 9 calories, and a gram of carbs and a gram of protein are both equivalent to 4 calories. How do you know what the makeup of the food you're eating is in regards to these macronutrients? So we got a box of Golden Graham cereal, one of my favorites, and you can see on the side the nutrition labels. These nutrition labels are going to have proteins somewhere down here at the bottom, fats are going to be towards the top, and carbs are going to be somewhere in the middle. So why are these so important to track? Well, first off, it's going to help you better understand how your calories are broken up during the day, but also you'll want to try and set goals for these different macronutrient breakdowns. So for example, I try and eat about 2,000 calories a day, and I reckon about 40% of that needs to be carbohydrates, 30% should be fat, and 30% should be protein. Why is that important? Well, my protein is a little higher than most people's because I'm trying to put on some strength, and my carbs are a little lower because I'm trying to lose weight. All right, so the way your body processes carbohydrates, if you have an excess amount of carbs throughout the day, say you're not burning a lot of energy, but you're intaking a lot of carbs, that's going to add up to weight that you're going to gain pretty fast. Fats are essential for your body, however, you don't want to intake a lot of them. Keep your fats at an even amount or lower than the amount of protein that you intake for the day. Other advice for fats, stay away from saturated fat. This is going to be fried food. A lot of fast food is going to be high in saturated fat. Snacks like Doritos, things like that. You're going to want to shy away from those things because they're going to be very high in saturated fat, and your body can't really do a lot with saturated fat but store it. And that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. That's going to lead to excess weight gain, which is what you do not want. So talking about tracking your macronutrients, what I use is an application made by Under Armour called MyFitnessPal. I've talked about it in previous videos, but what it allows you to do is enter each food that you're eating, and it will give you a macronutrient breakdown of all of those things. So this box of cereal, for example, Golden Grahams, has 1 gram of fat. Almost, insignificant, right? Pretty good. Carbohydrates, 26 total carbohydrates, 9 grams of sugar, and 2 grams of dietary fiber. So fiber is going to be important. It's not something you're going to want to track, but a good rule of thumb is to eat 15 grams of fiber for every 100 pounds that you weigh. So I weigh 230 pounds. I'd want to eat a little over 30 grams of fiber a day. Looking back at the box of cereal, we see down in protein, 2 grams of protein. So you're going to want to be cognizant and mindful of the things that you're putting into your body, right? The main thing that really surprises a lot of people, I think, when they first start tracking macronutrients is the amount of fats that are in foods that they eat. Foods that you even think are healthy are going to be higher in fat content. So cheese, for example, is a big one. People think cheese, well, it's a dairy product, it's natural, it can't be that bad for me. And it's not necessarily bad for you. You just want to make sure that you intake that in moderation because it's higher in fat. So what's a good way to plan your macronutrients, right? So a good rule of thumb is if you're incredibly active and you have a fast metabolism, you can be higher in carbohydrates. A lot of people who are, say, track runners or cross-country runners, and they're out there doing a lot of cardio and high energy expenditure, their carbohydrates are probably going to be upwards near 50% of their diet and total caloric intake, whereas somebody who is not as active or has a slower metabolism, kind of like myself, are going to be down at the 40%, even to 35% range of your macronutrient intake. Carbs are the basic building blocks of energy for your body, and if you're not spending carbohydrates that you intake, they're going to be stored in your body somewhere, and that's going to lead to excess weight gain, which you do not want. Proteins are important because they are essentially the building blocks for muscle growth and muscle development and recovery within your body. So you'll want your proteins depending on what you're trying to do to reflect that. So if you're trying to bulk up and put on weight, essentially, you'll want to have higher proteins. But if you're somebody who isn't necessarily interested in getting huge, right, your proteins are going to be a lot more moderate. So let's say you are that cross-country runner or a person who likes to jog every day or whatever that might be. Your carbs are going to be higher, but your proteins are going to be a lot lower. And your macronutrient tracking is going to reflect that. So remember, when you're tracking your macronutrients, you want to make sure that your carbs are reflecting the amount of energy that you spend in a day, right? If you're not expending a lot of energy, lower carbs. If you are expending a lot of energy, your carbs can be a lot higher. Stay away from saturated fats and make sure when you're tracking your fat intake, you do not want to intake more fats than protein, or at least that should be your goal. And when you're tracking protein, make sure that it's also reflective of what it is you're trying to do. If you're trying to put on weight and you're trying to gain muscle mass, your proteins should probably be equivalent to your weight. You should intake 1 gram of protein for every pound that you weigh. That should be a goal of yours if you're trying to bulk. If you're not trying to do that, you should do 1 gram of protein for maybe every 2 or every 3 pounds that you weigh. So keep that in mind. Be cognizant of your macronutrient values. Use MyFitnessPal to track those. And you should be really happy with where your diet comes out to, and you should be happy with what you're eating. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know in the comments section down below how you track your macronutrients and any other advice that you might have for some of the people watching the video today. Make sure to remember to subscribe and like the video. It helps me out a lot, and I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.